There's a moment every champion lives for. The confetti falls, the music swells, the crowd chants your name. You climb the ropes, raise the title to the sky, and for one fleeting second, you believe the war is over. Cody Rhodes had that moment. WrestleMania 40. The dream fulfilled. The story finished. He stood where his legendary father never could. The title that always slipped through the Rhodes family's grasp was finally wrapped around his waist. The moment felt perfect. The dream was complete. But dreams have a strange habit of turning into nightmares. And the throne Cody now sits on was cursed long ago. That curse follows a predictable pattern. Austin was beloved until his neck shattered under the weight of carrying the company. The Rock was untouchable until he traded wrestling rings for red carpets. Cena was the undisputed face until the crowd turned him into a punchline. Roman was chosen until he became the symbol of everything fans hated about WWE's decisions. And now, Cody wears the same crown that crushed every head before his. It always starts the same way. A spark, a climb, an underdog the people can believe in. Fans love the journey. They live for the fight. But the second the story ends, the second the hero stands tall, they look away. Because what they really crave is the next climb, the next underdog, the next story to finish. Wrestling fans don't want heroes. They want revolt, and babyfaces by nature are made to obey. They follow the rules, they smile on cue, they hold hands, sign autographs, and sell t-shirts. But eventually, the crowd stops seeing the man and starts seeing the machine. And once that illusion breaks, there's no going back. No matter how many times you get up, no matter how much blood you shed, once they label you the face, you become the villain. And now, it's Cody's turn. The man who said he wouldn't turn. The man who believed in doing it the right way. The man who walked out of his father's house, burned his legacy to rebuild something new, only to be scorched by the very fire he lit. He came back to finish the story, and now finds himself trapped in the same script Cena lived, the same rejection Roman endured. But what makes Cody different is the illusion. He feels too good to be true. The white suit, the golden smile, the American flag stitched to his heart. But there's something under it. A hidden darkness, a cold flicker behind the polished promos and crowd-friendly smiles, a monster with its mouth sewn shut, for now. Cody has already suffered enough to stand at the top, and when he looks down, he sees the same fans who once begged him to finish the story, now laying venom to him in favor of John Cena. There's only so much smile he can spare, only so many promos he can deliver by asking the crowd,
"What do you want to talk about?"
Only so many betrayals, so many heartbreaks, so many broken pieces he can collect with pride. Eventually, something breaks. Eventually, the American nightmare will become the reality. He suppressed the monster once, in AEW. He kept it hidden behind corporate speeches and legacy-driven sacrifice. He hinted it in interviews. He showed flashes of his darkness against Owens, against Orton. Now, the time is coming. The blonde hair will be gone, the smile will become darker, and the Superman will become the Homelander.
You want to ask why I won't turn heel? It's because you cheered me when I needed the most.
There are moments in wrestling that freeze time. When Hogan wore black, when Foley won the belt, when Punk dropped the pipe bomb, when the streak was broken. And for this generation, that moment came on February 24th, 2025, the night John Cena turned heel. At Elimination Chamber, Cena shattered everything he once stood for. He struck Cody Rhodes with the title belt. He aligned with The Rock, and he left WrestleMania 41 as a 17-time world champion. But the noise that followed wasn't cheers. It was disbelief and rage. Not because of what he did, but because of how it all happened. The story was rushed. The turn came out of nowhere. The Rock vanished. And the involvement of Travis Scott only made the ending more bizarre. The truth is, Cena's turn wasn't sudden. It was inevitable. It was years in the making. For over a decade, Cena was the most polarizing figure in wrestling. He was booed out of ECW arenas, mocked as a corporate puppet, accused of burying Nexus, halting pushes, stealing the spotlight. He was called fake, plastic, unrelatable, and still, he smiled through it all. He rose above the hate because that was the brand. That was the mission. And even when fans turned on him, he never turned back. But time changes everything. When Cena left, the company moved on without him. Roman Reigns built an empire. Cody Rhodes returned to finish a story that he was never allowed to begin. Bray Wyatt mocked Cena's legacy inside a funhouse of his failures. Austin Theory embarrassed him. Solo Sikoa dropped him. His return at Royal Rumble 2025, his last real shot, only confirmed it. The new generation had passed him by. Super Cena was gone. And that's when the mask cracked. The version of Cena who walked into Elimination Chamber was chasing relevance. And when The Rock whispered a command in the ring, Cena obeyed. He turned. He broke his code. He embraced the hate. At first, it felt like a masterstroke. Cena insulted fans who now applauded out of guilt. He broke up with the fans. He mocked the kid at Brussels.
Everybody, including that one kid right there.
He dismissed Randy Orton as a relic. He humiliated R-Truth and waved his 17th world title like a flag of war. But the darkness didn't last, because something was missing. The Rock, who was meant to be the spine of this story, disappeared. The sole storyline dissolved into no-shows and brand confusion. Cena was left alone, a villain without a war, marching in circles. The fans started to shift. Their boos turned to nostalgia. Their chants turned to respect. At WrestleMania 41, the crowd cheered Cena and booed Cody. At Money in the Bank, Cody returned to more boos. At Night of Champions, Cena stood across from CM Punk. He had a chance to use the belt. He hesitated. The man who once embraced the hate now looked like he was choking on it. And behind the scenes, something was changing. Cena was no longer playing a heel. He was unraveling. He chased a number, 17, believing it would give him peace. But it didn't. The title felt hollow. The betrayal of the fans didn't empower him. It broke him. And the man who stood for hustle, loyalty, and respect realized he was alone. Online, social media is buzzing with the theories chart his redemption arc. His mask is slipping, and it is visible by how he hesitates before cheating, how he stares into the crowd longer than he should, how he stands his ground against Rollins. The story is catching fire once again, and now, with SummerSlam 2025 on the horizon, the rumors will turn into prophecy. Fans speculate on a face turn. After Cena's last match, where he refused to cheat against CM Punk, despite having every reason, he endured. He never broke, not when the fans turned on him, not when Roman overtook him, not even when Super Cena was long gone. John Cena stood at the top for over 20 years. He buried his peers, carried the company, and never once asked for sympathy. He just ran to the ring, saluted the crowd, and threw his hat to a kid in the front row. He can't leave without doing that one last time, and he won't. There are nights in wrestling when the ring stops being a stage and becomes something sacred. One of those nights was WrestleMania 13. It started with a man in pink tights twisting a sharpshooter, and another man bleeding out on the mat. Steve Austin never tapped. He passed out. And in that moment, the crowd stopped caring about what the company told them. Bret Hart was no longer a hero. Austin was no longer the villain. The shift didn't happen through promos or booking. It happened through pain, through silence, through blood. SummerSlam 2025 may be standing on that same line. John Cena and Cody Rhodes have been orbiting each other for months. One looks like a villain trying to find his way out of the darkness. The other still wears the smile of a hero, but the crowd doesn't seem to believe in it anymore. Cody Rhodes, the man who finished the story, now walks through arenas where cheers echo with doubt. The pyro hits, the music plays, but the magic feels thinner every week. John Cena, the man who broke every promise he once stood for, walks out with venom on his tongue, but something in his eyes has changed. The boos are quieter, the cheers aren't ironic. It's all shifting, without anyone saying it aloud. Cody was the symbol, the rebel who left WWE and bet on himself, the one who built something real, then returned to conquer the machine that once mocked him. He beat Roman Reigns. He held the title with tears in his eyes, but the confetti hadn't even settled before the murmurs began. The crowd moved on. The story was over, because what fans really want is the chase, the collapse, the transformation. Cody kept trying, kept bleeding, kept smiling. He asked what the people wanted to talk about, hoping they still wanted to talk to him at all. But every time he raised that belt, the noise dimmed. He gave everything, and it still wasn't enough. And somewhere behind him, Cena waited. His heel turn should have changed the landscape. He struck Cody with the belt. He stood beside The Rock. He became the 17-time world champion. But the moment imploded. The Rock vanished and got replaced by a random auto-tune junkie. And Cena was left to carry a story with no foundation, no fire, and no direction. He tried, he spit venom, mocked the fans, dismantled opponents with contempt. But the hatred didn't hold, not anymore, because something's changed. Cena walks slower now. He talks with less rage, more weight. He still plays the part, but his delivery is haunted. He hesitates. He stares out at the crowd too long, avoids eye contact with the fans still cheering for him. He hasn't earned redemption. He hasn't apologized. But week by week, the mask keeps slipping. Cena isn't the villain anymore. He's the ghost of something real, something the audience forgot they loved until it came back twisted and broken. And Cody stopped asking for love. He started demanding it. The warmth is gone from his voice. The cracks are widening. His tone's colder. His smiles feel forced. The cheers sound hollow. And the boos are getting harder to ignore. He's trying to hold it all together. The legacy, the spotlight, the weight of being Dusty Rhodes' son, the weight of being the guy. But it's slipping through his fingers. And maybe deep down, he knows this story was never meant to have a happy ending. Now, SummerSlam is coming. Cena versus Cody. One journey. There are no speeches left to give. The crowd already knows what it wants. They want Cena to come home. They want the salute, the run to the ring, the hat tossed into the front row. Not because he was perfect, but because he stayed. He endured. He never broke. They want Cody to snap, to stop pretending, to stop playing the dream and let the nightmare bleed through. They want to see what happens when the golden boy falls apart, when the pressure breaks him, when the story finally eats its own author. John Cena never broke, not when they booed him, not when they called him a sellout, not when they left him behind. But maybe, just once, he'll let go of the hate and walk toward the light one final time. And the man who finished his story will carve its final chapter in blood. Thanks for watching till the end. Click on the screen to find out who truly carried wrestling. And don't forget to like and subscribe for new videos every week.